Hey, Don here. Okay, well, it's been a while since I did a live stream, but I got a new tool or a toy that I want to show and demo. And I've got it hanging right over here. Can't see it very good. So, get our little handheld camera, try to show it. That's the end of it. It's a little camera. It's called an endoscope. That it's got LEDs on the end to make you can make it brighter and dimmer. There's a control down there. I'll show that in a minute. Let's see. And what it is, I'll tell you what it is first, and then kind of use it a little bit. It's a Crenova brand. 2-in-1 microscope, USB, Type-C, waterproof, and then on the papers when you get it, it says water resistant. Endoscope for, and I don't know why it leads out with Mac, but it says for Mac, PC, laptop, Android, smartphone. But anyway, it's got a convertible, and it's plugged into the computer right now, so I can't show that. But it actually flips. Let's see. There's some pictures of it right there. See that this one right there? It flips up, so it'll be small enough for a regular, like micro USB, like my Android phones that I have. There's a good picture of it, and different little pictures of it. And they show it going in water, so I guess like with cameras, when they say water resistant, they'll go like 5, maybe 10 feet, but they won't go deeper. So maybe that's kind of the way it is. And it has, I'll show those attachments. It's got a hook, a magnet, and a mirror, so you could kind of look back off the end of it. So if you lost something, and this is why I bought it I didn't realize, I remembered it, I'd seen it before, but I forgot it had a magnet. So the magnet would be something I might use. I'll show that in a little bit. But go down here to the questions and up to the specs. So it's I believe it's doing 640 by 480 right now, and then I'm using OBS Studio. Worked perfectly in Fedora Linux 23. Just plugged it up, opened OBS Studio, and set up a screen capture, VLC screen capture, VLC Videoland media player and streamer screen capture, and it worked right off the bat. Using V4L Video for Linux. So cool. I didn't know for sure if it was going to work. I didn't really expect it to work on my phones because they're kind of a little older models, 2014 or 15 models, and they ones that I do my videos with here, they don't have OTG, and it said in here, it works with phones with OTG on the go. And so anyway, there's the specs. I'm not going to read them. It's supposed to work from Windows 7 up. I haven't tried it on anything Windows yet. I did try it on one of my phones, and it didn't see it, so it probably won't work. I tried one little trick that I thought might make it work. I turned on USB debugging, but that didn't make any difference. So, well, it's okay because I think the laptop is the way to do it. I haven't tested it in the laptop yet. This is the desktop, and the laptop runs Debian Linux. So now, anyway, that's what I just put on it. And so if I had to, I could put Fedora on it because I know it'll work in Fedora. But that's what I got here. So let's go, let's see. I don't know how I lost I want to go back to my live dashboard and then close the browser. That way the machine won't be working hard. But I want to make sure I'll be able to get back quickly to my live dashboard here. Make sure everything looks good on my stream. So, yeah, see, it was already getting up close to about 700 megabytes, and that'll help. And that'll help a lot on making sure my machine works. Something kind of odd with OBS Studio. I made a little test video with it. I just opened up OBS. I made 2 of them, but the first one I made, I opened up OBS, added this, and it worked. And then I went to testing it and looking at stuff, and it started lagging on the video in the preview screen, and I thought, what is this? This might not work as good as I thought. And then I thought, well, maybe I better check my memory. And sure enough, it was using way over 3 gigs. So, and I've only got 4 gig of memory. So I went ahead and shut down the app, and then and it's funny when you add a new device or a new scene in that's what it's called, scenes in OBS Studio in Fedora 23 Linux. Actually, it did it in other versions of Linux. I've tried it in several different older versions. I'm on the scope now instead of the desktop. Okay, this is what I was talking about. Well, you can't see it. I don't have one that'll show the desktop in the scope. So anyway, I can only talk about it anyway. So just go back to the scope. Anyway, as soon as I closed, and since it got the machine to not running good, so I closed it, rebooted the machine, and then since it's an odd little thing about that's happened a lot for me in OBS Studio, and it'll quit doing that as soon as you close OBS and open it back up. You don't have to reboot, but when my machine gets to using that much memory, you need to reboot so that it can clean out all the memory, all the cache, and be back to normal again. I only have 256 megabyte of video memory. I think that's the real reason it does that. Although this is RAM memory I'm talking about that's using up. I don't really have a way to monitor. See, what I use, I keep this open all the time. System monitor. This one is the KDE system monitor. And anyway, and I organize it by what's using the most memory, and generally the RAM will be right there close to, the CPU usage. And so anyway, it was almost 3.5 gigs. So let's go back to the scope. That's the new thing. Now, what I got it for, I've been for 2 weeks now, a little over 2 weeks, I've been working on my 76 Chevy Blazer. And I'll just show some stuff here. This is my little toolbox that I keep in here. And it's not bad. It is looks like it's 640 by 480 or something like that, and it's supposed to be able to do 1600 by something. It does a pretty good close-up. If you could hold it still, you could mount it. I've seen pictures of them. Like people mounting them in tripods and stuff. But over here where it's plugged in, there is a little switch on it, a rolling switch. Like a regular light dimmer. And it will, I think you can almost see it. Yeah, you can see right under the 5M kind of. It will have to be, if I try to move around, I get away from my mic. I got a mic on a stand. Anyway, it'll brighten and dim the LEDs. And I can't really do that and talk at the same time, so I'm not going to try to do it. But now there's one of the add-ons. But look how, that'll be good for... I didn't go into, I'll tell you in a minute after I kind of show this what I'm going to use it for. But, I've seen these things used in the sewer line. I had a doctor way back in the 80s use one up my nose to see what was wrong with my sinuses. And he had it on a video screen, and I could watch it while he was doing it. Wasn't quite as big as this one, and I'm glad. But you can read this stuff. My cameras won't really do that. You can't get that close on things, my phone cameras. So I think it's only, well, you know what? I think it's supposed to be 2 megapixels. My cameras are in video mode. They're really only 1.7 megapixels on my phones. The screen shot is, what am I trying to say? The pictures are supposed to be 5 megapixels on these phones. But, and you can, it's a round device. So if you want your stuff right side up, you've got to twist it and turn it. I think I would be careful about just turning the head. I think you better, I'm going to hold it by the wire. That's the way it's meant to be done anyway. I think you might loosen the connections in it if you start twisting it by the head. But you can twist it until you get things right set up if you want to. I saw a comment. Well, there were a lot of people saying that they didn't like the software. Well, I'm not using it anyway. But they're saying, well, you can't get it right set up. I was like, I didn't think about it. I just thought, They said they wish the software had a flip function. And now I realize, well, you got to turn the camera. Just like any camera, you got to turn it right side up. It's just that it's more confusing because it's not rectangular or round, and you don't know which side is up. There's just no way to tell which side is up. See, and it'll shoot. Looks like it shoots up to about. See, now I'll try to. It's pretty stiff cable, and that's good because. Again, I haven't really said, let me try something over here. I'm trying to get it to turn over without. Pretty tricky to get it turned right side up. There we go. That's right side up. Okay. Sort of. Okay, now see, that's right set up on those little speakers. But it starts getting blurry right there. So that's like about 2 feet, foot. That's more like a foot and a half. But, you know, it's not meant for long shots. It's a close-up camera. Because you're supposed to, my 76 Chevy Blazer, I've got the carburetor off. I heard some noises that scared me, and I was afraid that and there was 2 screws missing on the bottom of the carburetor. And I thought, did those 2 screws fall off into the intake and then got into the valves? And then the noise went away. So, you know, I thought, oh no, did they drop down in the cylinders? But you got to be careful. I kind of set my stool here up. I don't know if I can show it good or not. Let me. So the stool is, see, when you back off, it's not as clear, and it's also crazy upside down and everything. There we go. I set it up, wedged the cable in there so that when I start twisting around on it, and pulling around on it, it's pretty long. I believe it said it was 96 inches long, so that's all right. But it's stiff, and it should be, because what I'm going to do with it, and it recommends for this kind of stuff, I'm going to, it's what it's supposed to be for. It says it's not for medical stuff, you know, it says that on it. But I'm going to stick it in my intake manifold and try to look. I'm going to see I can turn this light up to whatever degree it needs to be. And this is a little wireless keyboard I have up here. You see the dust on it? And I wiped it this morning, I think. Can't keep the dust out of this place. But you can read all this. You could not get this close and read this stuff. Of course, so if you put it on a tripod and figure out a way to mount it, some of them I think comes with a little tripod mount, but it's not really what I wanted it for. Well, it would be. The first reason I thought I would want one was to be able, I don't have one out, to be able to look at circuit boards when I'm working on them. Let's say I had a circuit board there. See how close, now this is my worn out keyboard tray. But I could see, I saw a user picture of the circuit board, and I thought that would work for me. And that was long before I started working on the truck. So you could, I can't reach them, or I'd get one out. You can mount it in a tripod, and then you could actually use this. You could use VLC, and you don't even have to record a video if you don't want to. Just stream it to your computer and don't save it, you know, and work on your electronics and stuff. So that's one great thing. That's why it's a tool. It's really more of a tool than a toy, really. It's not a high dollar one. I mean, this thing was $9.99. It was marked down from like $20, but and they've got some newer ones that are a little bit higher resolution, but this is going to be fine for what I need it for. And I think, speaking of the resolution, in OBS Studio, I noticed it said something about do you want to, do or do not change the resolution, so I might be able to set it to, I'm not going to do it while it's live. I'll try it later. Might be able to set it to a higher resolution too, because a lot of these, this is like a webcam, so most webcams default to either the lowest or the medium, usually around the medium resolution that they can do. So maybe it'll go up higher, but it's very hard to watch. I can see that, but anyway, for instance, this is my cubby here, where it's a keyboard tray on my big rack, telco rack. So see, I can stick it in there, and I can search. This would be just what I'm doing. Of course, it's going to spin and turn, but that's fine. You just want to see, is there a screw in my intake manifold or in my valves? And I can also take out my spark plugs and look in there and see if there's a screw or anything in there. Also can just see what kind of shape, see if the cylinder walls look scratched. That's going to work. Yeah. So I can look in this. This is the other one. I've got some remotes in there. And see, I kind of pre-adjusted the light to what would be pretty good overall. And I haven't, but you can make it brighter or dimmer. Like if you look at something, it's going to reflect on them. And move my mic again. My keyboard that I use all the time, this one's old and dirty. But see, it starts reflecting because it's kind of a reflective. It's a see-through surface. I don't know if you can. I don't think you can see through them. I can kind of see through them. They're dark, but it's translucent. But anyway, you can kind of tell from there that it's translucent. Then the rest of it's not. Old HP, I love them. I have 2 of these HP keyboards. I've used them for 10, 15. I think I got them in, I don't know, somewhere around 2000. That's how, so they could be 17 years old easily. But there's my phone. See, it's sideways now because of the way it's turned. But it's an inspection camera. That's what they call them a lot. Endoscope is the other. I guess that's kind of the proper name for them. But see what it looks like. Oh yeah, you can look at yourself pretty well. See, I've never seen that close. That's a little mole on my arm. So you could inspect your cuts and bruises from working on the truck, if I can find them. That's healing up pretty good. Oh, it's not for medical use. Well, I'm using it in unauthorized use here. But yeah, see, that's funny. I can get down there and see those up close now. I can never twist my leg in a good way to see those marks. I didn't know. Really didn't know what they exactly looked like. Let's see. For instance, do I have any under my elbow? No, it looks okay. There's something there. I have one around on my back I figured I have a scab on my back, and I don't know what I did but I'm not going to show that one. I'll give you a break here. I had a bruise somewhere on my arm. Maybe it's already healed up. But if I can hold still a little bit. Look there. That's my hand. Yeah, my veins are really starting to show up. Oh yeah, and there's a couple more little brown spots on my other hand. Little moles that have started. I didn't used to have those. They're almost see-through when you look at them, like, you know, from my eyes, even with my magnifying glasses on or whatever. So, oh, dude, I could trim my fingernails with that. I had to set it on a tripod or something, but I've been having to use one of those jeweler's headsets. So, actually, it's right side up. It's flipped so much that it's right side up. Illuminated lens flipping headset. That's the box that it's in. How funny. That's what I use, that and this magnifying glass here. The little one. I have 2 of them, a big one and a little one. But you could actually kind of learn how to use this for a handheld. Yeah, you can inspect your elbows. I had looked at them one way in the mirror somehow. They had gotten really bad a while back. I kept putting lotion on them. I think they're okay now. They don't feel as bad when I just feel of them. They've gotten really dry. So, yeah. Oh, you can look at your head. Look at there. You can look in your places that you don't normally see, that you can't see. I know it's gross, isn't it? Whoops. You could even try to use that to trim your... See, I trim my own hair with these clipper things. Can't get it to... I don't know how to line it up. That way, that way, that way, that way, that way. It's very hard to figure out which way to go with it. And it gets tangled up on everything. There, I'm upside down, but see, I do that. We used to call it we used to call it shaving the sides. It's not really shaved, just trimmed really short. But yeah, and of course, while you can, I've been seeing the top of my head, so I don't need to see that anymore. Yeah, there's a lot missing up there. I've been seeing it in my other videos, so. But you know, it's not made to make a video of your face. You know, I mean, you have to get that close to get a clear shot. That's okay, but of course you don't want to do that. But anyway, I guess that's enough of playing around with that. Sorry, it got hung on something. So yeah, it's going to work out really well. Now, the only thing else I need to do is make sure it'll work on my laptop, because I can't carry my desktop out there to work on the truck. So yeah, that's all right. And the light stays on. It's not as well. It was getting really warm a while ago, and I thought, well, if I turn the light down, maybe it won't be as warm, because I thought maybe the LEDs were making it warm, but like almost hot warm, like where it would bother you to touch it. Actually, I figured out already, you don't want to hold on to it here, because that's really going to stress your connection. Where I know how electrical connection, a lot of times you'd think there'd be some really good strain relief, and half the time it's soldered in. No strain relief, or very poor, or if any strain relief nowadays. Used to, electronics were made good, like this Shure mic stand. You could literally swing this around by the cord and it wouldn't come loose. Matter of fact, a kid years ago, I've got another mic, we used to do sound for bands. This kid years ago was swinging one around. He swung up about 10 or 15 foot of cord, and it was just so happened it was a stage with bricks surrounding it, and he hit that brick and shattered. Never seen one do that. He shattered this whole mic case, still connected here. So the connectors and the strain relief down here in the end are really good on a Shure mic and most sound gear. So I'm partial to stuff that works right. It's made good. So anyway, I think that's going to work. Maybe tomorrow. I guess tomorrow I'll get out there and use it. I got to thinking. You know, I thought, okay, how am I going to use this thing? I figured I would only be able to use it on my laptop. That it wouldn't work on my phones. And here's the thing. I don't know if I can show that really well, but okay. So let's just say, well, look at this cable. This is the regular charging cable. That's so small and so weak, and that thing is. I'll show you again. Maybe I'll turn up the light a little bit. We'll get back on that other one. I'll show you. Hang on. Actually, I can back way up, hold it way on down the cable. That's how big that other cable is, just dangling down there. Sorry. Okay, the other cable has not got anything to do with it. That's some audio cables I have. Well, it's back there again. I didn't know what to do with it to get it. That's the bit where I always hang it to get it out of the way when I'm making these videos. So there it is, plugged into the computer. You see, it's pretty long and pretty wide, pretty fat. And the end of it, you just flip it, and it converts from regular USB to the little micro USB for your phone. It's this other end, the one that end, the one that's plugged in here. And I plugged it in, and it fits. It fits fairly tight. But that's what I did, is I just kind of saw that my skin tone looked about right, and I figured that's a pretty good overall setting to use. So I kind of hesitate to keep bending it, but it's made to bend, so it should be okay. So anyway, yeah, it wouldn't be very good in a phone. because you're going to break this female connector on the phone in a heartbeat. That thing is so little. You know how little they are. If you got a phone, you know. So, I mean, these are bad enough, as tiny as they are. You have to be careful, and I use them plugged in a lot because my phone's I keep them plugged in. The reason it's plugged in is because I'm streaming from all 3 phones, and that streaming app will run them down, and any camera app will run them down quick, the batteries. So I just take them all. I'll run them, you know. I'll try to keep them. Like when I was outside making my videos, I realized you can only get about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour before you'll run the battery down when it's fully charged when you start. That's with it plugged in. If it's not plugged in, just on the battery, 10, maybe 20 minutes if you're lucky. So I keep them plugged in, drag an extension cord around. And so anyway, yeah, it wouldn't be feasible for me to use it out there on the truck plugged into a phone anyway. Matter of fact, you'd have to be, anytime you try to use it on a phone, you'd have to really be super careful. So, but I think it's going to be all right. I think I'm going to be glad I got it. Hopefully it will tell me whether or not I have any screws down in my engine without having to take it apart. That's the thing, because that's a lot of hard work, and it's so hot. So, you know, now every day gets up to 98, 100. And this coming week, it should be about the same. The week after that, you know, it's fixing to be August for you know it. It's usually 103 to 105, even sometimes 110 in August here in Texas, North Texas. So, and I haven't even been outside hardly at all. My health was down for the last 2 years, so this is the first. Last summer I didn't get better. I used to get better in the summer for some reason. I've had health problems for many years, but so anyway. This is in 2 years. This is the first summer I've been out doing any work, but I had to get up like at least by around 4 in the morning and try to get out at 7:30, and then I've worked as late. Well, I've worked 1 or 2 days. I worked way too late, like 5 or 6 or something. But this last week, the latest day I worked was 3:30 because it was getting so hot. And it got so hot I had to come in. So I usually work about 6-7 hours each day. So out there. So anyway, I can switch my cameras like that. My desktop would show you, like if I had, since I'm over here doing this switch, like if I go over here, then you'll see, whatever I wanted to show on the desktop instead of just OBS Studio. That's the that's the one I call the handheld. I don't have it in a tripod. Then the desktop all on its own, and then now I have the Endoscope, and that's pretty cool. So there'll be a lot of uses for it. I'll be able to show, like I've made several videos on these little electronics things that I've been trying to. That I've got a Arduino Uno, and a couple of TI boards, and I just can't get any decent shots of them. That thing will do it. I'll have to figure out a way to hold it in the tripod good. I'll be able to hold it in the tripod because I've got. I'll show there's the one of them right there. It's I'm using a giant paper clip on the tripod and rubber bands. It works pretty well. It gets a little fiddly sometimes. And I'm doing the same thing on this one. I had a cassette case on that other one that I was just showing a minute ago. And I realized I figured that I'd put this on this one. It worked really well. And I thought, you know what? The cassette case was always flipping on me, going down because it wanted to, flop over which way, but I had rubber bands to hold it, but it was sharp edges and it would cut the rubber bands. They didn't last very long, for one thing, and then the other thing was it just didn't hold too well. You're moving it around. If you're just sitting still, it was fine, but if you started picking up the tripod and carrying it around, it would start moving around when you don't expect it to. And those other ones, those red rubber bands, they go over the back and connect and keep it from flopping like that. pretty well. But if you do bump it, it'll go like that and then come back into pretty much its original position. So, and that silver one, the one I was showing a minute ago, I knocked it off of the outside work, and I knocked it off and dropped, and it hit the ground. And with all that flux from the rubber bands, it was actually good. It absorbs the shock, and it didn't damage it, and it kept recording. So, yeah, I think that's going to be all right. I like those cables where I had them. Okay, so I didn't really show. I don't really know much way to. Let me get on this other camera. I'll show those little attachments again. Maybe a little better. There they are. And I haven't tried any of them yet. I guess I could try the mirror. I'm forgetting about what the heck it is I'm doing here. Okay. Oh. Yeah, let's try the mirror. I haven't tried it yet, and I'm curious as to what it'll be like. So we'll get that mirror and slide it on there. Looks like it has a kind of a stop for them. Yeah. Oh, they're loose. How do you make them tight? Oh, they have a clip. Wonder if you can. That thing is hot now, like I said. There you go. I think you might want to. No, you can't do that. You got to put it on there and then clip it. It's a little bit hard to clip. The light's so bright that it's blinding me when I try to look at it to clip it. So, clip it good. Ow, I can't. It gets bigger. Oh, there's one spot where it belongs. I didn't understand. I can't see it well enough, especially with the light coming out of it. It's tricky. Let me feel of it. Yeah, it's goes all the way around. There's an indentation ring, and it's just a clip, kind of a spring clip. And I can't seem to get it to do it. I guess you should do it before you get it turned on so you can see, or turn the light down or something. I didn't really want to do that. But if you're going to use it, you're going to have to, there we go. You just have to have it in the indentation good, and then it'll work. Okay, now I'll switch over to it. And I may have to move where it is in the list. It's kind of, I have to keep having, I've got too many now. Okay, so that's what you're seeing. Looks to me like it doesn't work. It doesn't focus. Oh, wait. I think maybe there might be a plastic film on that mirror. It's so dull looking. Like you know, when things are new. Yep. There it is. I thought that didn't look like normal. I thought it didn't look very shiny. Aha! We have picture. So yeah, if you get one of these and you think it doesn't work at all, and it's funky looking now. I mean, one thing stays still, and that's that ring of that mirror, and then everything else moves. But you know, there might be things when you're going down into a hole or an intake manifold or something. Maybe you want to be able to look back instead of straight ahead, or off to the side, kind of. I don't know which way I'm looking. Or orientating yourself is a bit tricky, that's for sure. Then I'll twist it around and try something else. Since I know what this stuff is, of course, those screws we just saw didn't really. Well, I mean, I can see that they're there from the outside, but I was like, oh, there's screws there. So there's a pin. There's a pin in there? Is that a pin? No, that's the rail. Oh, there's a slot. That's the drawer slide is what that is. I think there was some dust on it or something. Yep. kind of tricky to use. Now there's the side of my power supply for my laptop. Yeah. It's kind of funny when you see those lights from my thing in the background. You could do a lot of playing with something like this, couldn't you? And then the hook. Let me turn that light down. I'm just going to turn it all the way down so that I can do this. Okay. Now I'm going to see about getting this off of here. I'm not quite sure. There. It's pretty easy to get off. The magnet, of course, but I was thinking, what would the hook look like? You're going to see that hook. Well, that means you'll be able to see what you're grabbing. So, like a magnet, like in my intake manifold, it's aluminum. Okay, so it won't stick to that. But then when it gets to the heads, it's going to stick to it. Or if you're trying to go down a metal tube, it's going to stick to the sides and drive you crazy. You might not ever get something out of there. So a hook might turn out better, in some situations. It is tricky as heck to get on there. But at least it's on there good once you get it on there. Ow. My biggest problem is I just really can't see good enough. Especially since I just got through blinding myself with that LED in the end of this thing for a while there. My eyes really adjust to light very slowly. Dang it. Nose itches. Okay, let's try this some more again. Get it in the little, you can feel that it's in the little place, but getting it to clasp is really tricky. The other time I really didn't know I was in the right place. It just finally worked. There. Oh, I think I just didn't really have the idea right about where to squeeze on it. I think that was my biggest problem. Endoscope. Okay, go. Okay, there's your hook. Hook stays still. But let's see. Let's turn on a little more light. I keep forgetting I'm talking when I'm not on the mic. Sorry. That's my toolbox. So let's say I wanted to try to pick something up. Screwdrivers in there that I might be able to pick up on at least. I guess you got to turn it on. You can turn it. Like if you're not down on a tube, you can just pull it up and turn it. I'm actually cheating. I'm looking at the screwdriver instead of at the screen, but I can do that better. Okay, let's see those scissors. Let's see that they look easy to pick up. It's pretty tricky. No, I can't do it. I can hook them good that way, but if I look at the screen, it makes me kind of dizzy. Of course, if you're in a place where you just flat can't do it any other way, then and you can't get to it, like my desk under here. I'll take this hook off so if I stick it down that way, I won't get it. I'll leave it on here for a minute. My desk has sliding shelves, but it doesn't have anything in the back. I made this part down here, and you can't see that good. I'm afraid I'm going to get hooked on something that I don't want to get. But stuff falls off the back. What's that? I guess that's the wall. Oh, got a hook on something. But yeah, I could pick things up with this thing. It's going to have 101 uses. Maybe more. Yeah, I could pick a lot of things up with that. Just that hook. Okay, let's go back to cam 1. Ow! I don't want to break it because it's plastic, and I also don't want to. My fingernails used to be really, really tough and thumbnails, but now they're not. I definitely don't want to break and split one of them. That would hurt forever. They get up, split up into your into the quick. That's what they always used to say. Okay, so I don't know how well I can show it, but I was trying to squeeze too close to the clasp. It's a big old hump. It's a clasp. Get it in place, and then maybe put my finger on that. Let's see. That's not doing it. Ow. You have to get it right in that slot or that depression in the thing, in the scope itself, and then squeeze it. Almost think, well, that wouldn't be very. I say they gave you some Velcro to tie up the cable with when you're not using it. I thought that might be better, but nah, it wouldn't hold good enough, especially when you stuck it down in something. You'd lose your little add-ons down in wherever you had it. Oh. Oh. I had it figured out backwards because I can't see it very good. I'll show a close up with this thing. Where's it at? Okay. Now here it is. This is what I'm trying to do. If I can do it. There. And I was thinking it was the hooking mechanism was the opposite of the way it is. Can't hold still. There. I thought it was the opposite of the way it is. My sense of direction is just gone with this thing, I tell you. There. There. Okay. So, yeah. So, now maybe I can hook it a little easier. So, I'll squeeze on the two biggest parts. Squeeze them together. There we go. Squeeze them together. It's not so hard now. The magnet is so shiny on the back that it shines back at you. Now let's go into the toolbox and see if I can find that screwdriver again. Is it in there? There it is. There's one of them. There it is. Oh, that's a good magnet. It let go of the front side and went around to the back side of the. You can see the screwdriver perfectly. You see what I'm saying? I touched it to the front side, and the magnetic pole somehow made it. I might have magnetized this screwdriver. I don't know. That could have been why, but I don't know. But anyway, it flipped around to the back. Now you can see the screwdriver. That's kind of cool. So look at there. Pretty good. So that ought to be able to pull a screw out from an intake manifold. I like that. That's a little screwdriver, of course, but definitely heavier than the screws that I'm going to be trying to rip. If they're, and I think they're magnetic. If they're not magnetic, I got to check that too. That they're magnetic. Take one of them out of the carburetor. They're different. They're anodized. They might be anodized or something. They're kind of goldish colored, and sometimes those are not magnetic. I don't think it's aluminum carburetor. It's a Holley 600 carburetor, but I don't think it's a. I don't think those screws are aluminum. I'm sure they're not. Matter of fact, I had one or two of them out. I think they were magnetic. Ow. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I'm glad I tried those out. Oh, well, there's one. Well, there's two other things here. I will show. I was talking about them. We'll just go ahead and show them. Okay, there's a regular cap for the USB, the regular size USB end, and a lot of people say, oh, that's just something to lose, but I like them. I haven't lost any of mine yet. And there's another adapter too that you can put on the little one and go to. You tell me. There's the female side. I don't have anything like this. Maybe it's what an iPhone uses because it's supposed to work on Did they say iPhone or just Mac? They said Mac. Maybe that's a Mac, like notebook USB or something, converter. Doesn't have any writing on it. Very, very hard to... If I kind of get down here on my tray, maybe I can line it up somehow that way. Well, that's sure. Yeah, no writing. The light's a little too bright, but that's pretty clear close-up. Definitely usable. And there's the little... yeah, those straps. I forgot what you call them. Velcro. I knew that. I don't have Velcro tennis shoes. I can know how to tie my shoes. I have shoestrings like a normal human being, not a little 3-year-old. So, yeah, maybe you don't think that way. I don't know, but I do. Just kidding, mostly. Itching. Okay, so I think that's probably enough. I really want to... What time is it? Oh, gosh, time went away. It's 8:48. I hate it when it does that. Time slips away, but that's not what I was actually talking about. I guess I'll show it since I'm always... I went over there at some point today and looked out my window, and the blinds stuck up, and I never noticed it. The ones down low are broken, so they always do that, but I just hate that. Then if anybody looks at my window, they think I'm out being nosy looking at the window. Well, maybe they're being nosy looking at in my window, huh? We'll see. I don't want them to be able to see in. So, what camera are we on? Oh, oops, sorry, I hit the wrong thing. That was my intro with the music. Okay, so, yeah, that's all right. I'm not going to make a video of that, but I think I'll go ahead and boot up the... I wanted to just see how well it worked first before I tried anything different. It's going to work really well. I think hopefully that... I think I'll try. I know I just installed a Bane 8 on that laptop because the Bane's a lot lighter weight than Fedora, and the laptop's only a Core 2, and this desktop's a 4-core, and 4 gig of RAM laptops, 3 gig of RAM dual core. So I have run OBS in it before in Windows 7, and I think I tried it in Linux too. I can't remember. I had Fedora 19 or something on there, I think, and it couldn't do it. It couldn't handle it. But maybe on the Bane it might, and because that's the way I would prefer. I would love to have OBS Studio on that laptop. And be able to carry it outside and stuff and use it and stream from there. Well, not being wired outside, I have a Zonet router that I use as a wire. It has a wireless repeater function, but it's an older one, so it's only like 54 megabits speed, and the wired is 100. I have a gigabit router one, but I think I only have one machine that has a gigabit card in it. But anyway. I don't know if I could stream on 54 gigabit wireless. It repeats my wireless, and I actually, since it is a wired router too, I can plug in I have wired machines plugged into it. It's kind of cool. It's just something I just thought of one day. I thought, hey, I think I could do that, and it works. So I didn't have to run any cables to the garage. So, and also it strengthens the signal from my main router in the house, my TP-Link. So when I'm out there, I turn it on, and my phones do better out there. They were, whereas they're barely working, they get a pretty good signal. It's repeating the TP-Link's wireless signal, making it stronger. So it's kind of cool. I just don't leave it on all the time because anytime I have to reboot this one, that one quits, loses connection. It won't automatically reconnect. I have to reboot it, so I just turn it off when I'm not using it. Same thing with the other two I have in here too. So anyway, that's the... what's the name of that thing? Crenova 2-in-1 micro USB C port endoscope. That's kind of the way they described it on the side. Oh, and on the if you get it at if you're buying it and you got it at Amazon, if you look down through there and pay attention in the description, it has links to their Google Drive, and I downloaded the APK. That's how I installed it to my phone, my Android phone, and then there's a RAR for the um, Windows stuff, and I didn't download the Mac stuff. And I think maybe this is more updated than the. This is what came. It comes with a little mini CD, and this is what came on it. I copied it over to my downloads folder. It has PC, and it has, and I haven't even opened it. I looked at the manual. What am I showing us? Sorry, screencast. Do all that. Let's do that again. Okay, so the I made the name longer, from the it was just called like Camera Raw and Scope Cam 5.3 APK, and I gave that, so I want to know for sure what, I'd be able to know what it was. I named it off of the title on the Amazon page, and then the Endoscope is the main folder off the little CD. It's one of them little 50 megabytes mini CDs that came with it. I actually did read on one of the reviews that somebody said their virus warning, and they were in Windows, and their virus warning kept going off when they were trying to use it, and they said they didn't trust it when using it, and I believe it because there's some OBD software that we got one time with an OBD reader for the car, the reads your car computer. It was full of viruses. There was a bunch of software on it that they didn't make. They just got it somewhere, and one or two of them was not open source, well, not free, and they got it anyway, and and it was infected. I think they infected it. I imagine they were doing whatever kind of nefarious things they were trying to do. Had Trojans in it. So anyway, this one, I'd watch out with any software you get with any device anymore. I would check it before I used it, and I haven't used it. I copied it over. This is a Linux machine; it can't hurt it. But I haven't. I opened the PDF, which I usually don't even open those without checking them. But because there are some malwares that can come in PDFs or JPEGs or something, images that can hurt Linux. But I did do that. Anyway, the executables I haven't tried to open up or anything. Those are most common, to have trouble, give you trouble. Anyway, smart camera and AMCAP. That's the app. One of those is. I think one's probably the driver. I already forgot what it said. Let's see what the manual says. I don't think it tells you by the. If it does, I didn't notice it. Here's the little manual. I don't see a name for the app, but this is what the app would look. Description of the app and everything. Comes with a little book too, but the book's. I was sitting there trying to read that book with my magnifying glass, and here's what the end of the USB looks like, and the little, dimmer on the side. There's a button on there. Mine doesn't have anything on it at all, like what looks like a button right there. I think this one is maybe a newer model than the one in here, and I kind of thought it might be a newer model than the one in the ad. But if you wanted to use the software that came with it, you can, do screenshots, do videos, and all that stuff. If you didn't know how or didn't want to set it up with something else, and yeah, I don't know. But there's two. It doesn't tell you what smart camera and AMCAP are. One may be the smart camera. AMCAP may be the driver, and smart camera may be the Windows driver, and smart camera may be the application. And then OTG phone, it's USB camera 2.0 APK. Let's see. And the one I got is 5.3. I could try a 2.0 and see if it works, because my phones are a little older. But it said on the website this was the one that was supposed to work for Android 4 to 6, and I have 4.3. So no, that's not a good idea. That probably. I just don't think it will work on my phone, because I bought me a little OTG USB adapter. It's a Y. One side you can plug in, like to the computer, plug it into the phone, plug it in the computer to charge the phone, and also at the same time plug in like a USB stick or something, or a keyboard or whatever, normal USB stuff. and it won't do anything but charge the phone. And then I finally figured out it was really complicated. You had to read everything under the sun to figure out. I finally figured out my phones don't support OTG. They don't have the it's not in the kernel, in that Linux kernel, and I can't update them, you know. Well, I could if I did like a custom ROM and stuff, but I haven't ever got into that. I just use them for cameras. I don't have phone service on them. Fiddle around. It's too hard to. They're only 4-inch screens, so it's too hard to use them for like the software, really. Although there is a few little things I found that were kind of neat that's not available in Windows or Linux, but mostly to do with phone stuff. I mean, camera stuff. But so yeah, I was gonna open that one. This manual has got a few more pictures in it and stuff, and looks like it has a something you could scan. Same part right there over and over, and do not for medical use. Sorry, I was showing you my damages on my skin. Okay, and I didn't read OTG or UVC function. I can't remember what UVC is, but I think you could scan those deals, which if you had the device, you know, the app on your phone. And then it's kind of funny because I thought that would be in another language, and I thought I can read that too. What is that? It looks like the same exact thing on both pages. So anyway, it works in Linux, and so I did see people saying they had troubles getting this software that came with it to work in their Windows machines. And they were saying Windows 7, Windows 10, they were having trouble and fiddled around and maybe got it to work or not, but not. They didn't like. Anyway, and Mac, I remember somebody commenting, you know, about Mac, had trouble with it on Mac, but so I thought, I don't know if it'll work in Linux or not, but there was another one that said it worked in Linux on there, but it had a lot worse reviews, so I thought. And the one thing that threw me off is they said it wouldn't do, it advertised to do the higher resolution, but it didn't do it. And, well, this one's not doing the higher resolution, but I'm not sure about whether or not I can make sure I'm in what I think I'm in. I'm not sure about whether or not I can raise it up. I haven't tried that yet. I guess I better do that while I'm thinking about it. But I have to get off the live. I don't want to do it while I'm live. It will break my OBS. It'll cause it to lock up or something probably. It might not, but I don't want to risk it. If nothing else, I'm pretty sure it would make it use up too much RAM real quick. So anyway, hopefully it doesn't break on me real soon. And if not, if it doesn't break, then I think I'll be able to use it for a lot of things. So this is Dawn, and I guess that is a plenty long video. I'm gonna open up my browser and check before I go that I did a live. Well, I'll tell you what I don't like. I much rather prefer doing live videos to you know, recording them and then uploading them. Like when I record them on my phones, I use Google Photos to get back to my Google Photos to automatically upload them from the phones to Google Photos, and then it's 100 times quicker to transfer them. They call it uploading, but you're transferring them from Google Photos server to you know, YouTube. Because if you upload one, I mean, there'll be anywhere from, you know, 700 megabytes to 3 gigabytes. These videos that I'm, you know, sometimes. So you're looking at an hour and a half for a 3 gigabyte video upload, and I got 60 megabits down and 4 megabits up on my service, you know, my ISP. So, so we are still live. Guess it's time for me to quit. I haven't been talking much lately. I've been working outside. But I'm going to close this before it messes things up on me. So it looks like my live video is okay, and I won't have to go and, you know, upload it or anything. So, goodbye to the Endoscope, and I think I'm going to be able to use it. All right, this is Don. Talk to you later. Bye.